self-esteem doesn't even exist in some other languages. But of course, it does in a way, right? Because it's just how we understand and how we define self-esteem. So since that's come up on the show quite a bit, where people say that, oh, in North America, teachers aren't willing to say anything bad because everyone's worried about the self-esteem. And then in the rest of the world, they don't care about self-esteem. But that's not really true. So can you expand on that a little bit, like the three faces of self-esteem? And because I know this is it's one of your expertise, right?
I've done quite a bit of research on this, and it's really the topic that I've started today. It was the first topic I looked at in my career, and I got interested in this because right after I received my undergrad, I went to teach English for a couple of years in a tiny town in rural Japan. Town called Obama, of all things. And I came fresh from university with my psychology degree, and I thought I understood, I learned a lot of things in school about, how people work and what motivates them, and I tried to apply that being a teacher. And so one of the things that I would do is whenever I was teaching my Japanese students English, whenever they would try something, I would say, good job. And I would always be co-teaching with a Japanese teacher, and this one teacher particularly, he would often bring me aside, and he was bothered by me doing this. He goes, "Why did you tell that kid he did a good job? He did a bad job." And he goes, "Don't you want them to learn their English?" And I found this really confusing because, of course, that's what I'm trying to do too. And we just had very different strategies. He thought the way to do it was tell people, you've done a bad job. And that would motivate them, and I thought the opposite. And this ultimately has sort of led to this research program that I have on, what are the different ways that people view themselves positively around the world. And I think in the West, there is this idea of self-esteem that to view oneself positively, it's taking the individual's own perspective that really matters. So having self-esteem is when the individual says, "I think I'm good," right, or "I believe I'm good," and it's really from the individual's perspective. And there's been a lot of research showing that having the sense of self-esteem does predict a lot of positive outcomes in the West. That people who have higher self-esteem, on average, do achieve more in school. They tend to fare better in a number of ways. That this confidence is key. But it's
an important note to highlight there is that you said in the West, right?
Yes. And so this is something that's been, I think, especially cultivated in cultures where there is more of this independent view of self, where the idea is you're supposed to be self-sufficient, you're supposed to be the director of your own life. And self-esteem, I mean, in the West too, it's actually a fairly recent topic of study. It's really caught on in the 1960s. Is when people started to study it. And if you look back at that early research from the 1960s to now, you realize that, as some people like Jean Twenge, a social psychologist, has identified, is that self-esteem has been going up in the West. And it's gone up quite a bit. Almost 20% since the 1960s is people's self-esteem. It's gotten so high now that the most common answer on a self-esteem scale is the highest possible scale. That's the most common answer among American participants. They couldn't answer the questions any more positively than they already do. And so there's been this growing movement. People are viewing themselves in the West more and more positively. And I think part of the reason for that is the culture around them has also been changing, such that it's encouraging people to have more positive views of themselves. One way we can see that is with how grading has changed. There's a nice analysis of this done by some psychologists who are looking at what were the most common grades back in the 1940s in the U.S. And the most common grade then was a C. A C was the most common grade, and an A was reserved for the rare student who really stood out. So only about I think it's like about 15% of the students would get an A in the 1940s. Most people would get a C, and that has changed so that it's something like now an A is the most common grade at American universities. Something like 40-something% of students are getting an A in classes, and this changes because the universities have, or individual instructors, well, really I think the whole culture has changed such that that the desired way of evaluating students is to come up with an evaluation where people are doing positively. So that teachers, instructors here, they're making the exams, and you can make an easy exam or you can make a hard exam. And the exams really have gotten easier over time, such that the idea is that they want most people to come out with an A out of the course and to think they're doing well. Whereas before, I think it was more that it was more kind of like the Japanese instructors that I was telling you about, who the idea that no, you want to provide some critical feedback to people so that they know where they're lacking. They know where to focus their effort. So there's been this change over time, and so you see they're kind of going in parallel, that average grades have been going up, and average self-esteem has also been going up alongside that in the West.
You personally, do you think this is a good trend? Do you think this is a positive trend, or do you think it has some negative effects?
I tend to view self-esteem more as I'm kind of agnostic if it's good or if it's bad, in the sense that I think people end up getting a self-view that fits with their culture. So if the culture is changing in this way, that the idea is that we're supposed to be focusing on what's good about ourselves, then it is more functional to have high self-esteem in that culture. If the culture, though, is changing, or if it has for some time been a culture which emphasizes the interdependence of the individual, and so that a person is supposed to fit in with others and is supposed to take on the roles required by others, then I don't think self-esteem is so functional there. And there, in fact, it can be more adaptive to be focusing on where you might be have some shortcomings, where you might be likely to jeopardize getting a positive view from others. And so, I guess what I haven't said is I think, self-esteem is the way of viewing yourself positively that matters in the West. And I think, at least in East Asia, the corresponding view, I would use the term face for.
Saving face.
Saving face, yes, exactly. And face is something that shares some commonalities with self-esteem and some key differences too. So like self-esteem, it's about having a positive view of yourself. But some key differences are, face is based on what others think of you. So that's, your face is ultimately in the hands of others. And that really changes things from a psychological level, because when the concern is about building your own self-esteem, what matters is your own perspective. That if I think I'm doing well, then I'll have high self-esteem. And it's kind of up to me to interpret things in a way where I end up looking good. And that's a way of building self-esteem. But when it's face and I need others to view me positively, well, that changes the dynamics a lot. Because now it's like, how can I present myself in a way that I think others will like? And one key way of doing that is making sure that you don't have any shortcomings that is going to cause others to think negatively of you and might cause you to lose face, which is very problematic in East Asian society.
Yeah. And I think there are pros and cons with that. So I work as a teacher as well, and I've taught hundreds of students from China especially. I've taught students from around South America and Canada. And I'll just be honest, on average, it is a pleasure to teach Asian students compared to Western students. They work harder. When you do give them critical feedback, they take it and they don't whine about it. And then if you give them positive reinforcement, they love it, because it's something that they don't get all the time, right? So when you do give them something positive, it really means something to them. And I find nowadays in North America, you tell a student something good, and, well, of course, they hear nothing but good things about themselves. So it kind of just gets washed away. But then on the flip side, how you just described saving face, it is so much easier to get a Western child and a North American child to express their opinion about something. If I say create a context sentence or explain your opinion here, and they'll just go off. Whereas many Asian children that I teach, you really got to force it out of them to get the opinions out.
Yeah, and I think that difference also stems just even from some ideas of different ideas of what is knowledge, what is the what are the goals of education, and I think sort of coming from a more of a Confucian perspective, the idea is that knowledge is something that experts have, and so you're learning from the experts, and so you should listen to what they say and try to learn what they're telling you. And I think a lot of ideas about Western knowledge perhaps stem back from some classical Greek ideas, Socrates, that knowledge is something inside of you that you have to come and to you understand things by questioning others until they are able to figure things out for themselves. And there's this much more of this emphasis on the individual learning things, and that the individual can create some of these kinds of knowledge. And so I think that's that in itself is another key difference between societies. Is what is the purpose of education? Is it to teach you to how to understand things for yourself, or is it to how to understand things the way that the experts? That knowledge is something that resides within experts versus knowledge is something that resides within all of us.
Yeah.